Today we're taking a look at these NFL matches, which are happening on Sunday, December 26, 2021, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. 5 plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 500 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting advice that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks and advice. Tampa Bay Buccaneers vs Carolina Panthers. Tampa Bay has 12 players out by injury or COVID for this game. Some of the key names include Lavonte David, Giovanni Bernard, Leonard Fournette, and Chris Godwin. They have some players who are questionable that could play this week, including Mike Evans, Richard Sherman, Jason Pierre-Paul, and Antonio Brown. If they could get some of their skilled players and defensive guys back before the end of the season, they will still have a good shot at the Super Bowl. The Panthers come into the week last 10-point underdogs at home, but that number might be set a bit too high here. Despite having to deal with turnovers, Carolina's defense has been stout against the pass this season. Tampa Bay will be dealing with a slew of injuries on offense, perhaps none more costly than the loss of Fournette, who has been a contributor on the ground and in the passing game this season. While I expect Tampa Bay to bounce back after being shut out last week, winning this game by double digits might be a tall task for the Bucs here. Our first betting advice is to pick Carolina Panthers plus 10. With the regular season winding down, it appears Newton could be playing in his last home game in Carolina this weekend. Since Newton became the Panthers' starting quarterback, Carolina is 0-4. While he will get the start under center once again this weekend, former starter Sam Darnold is expected to play this weekend, according to ESPN. Darnold was cleared by doctors for contact after missing the last 5 games with a shoulder injury. On defense, the Panthers have surrendered 22.4 points per game, but it ranks second in the league in total defense at only 294.4 yards per contest. Carolina has given up just 178.8 passing yards per game, also second in the NFL, and 115.6 yards per game on the ground, 20th in the NFL. While most people aren't concerned about Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers will be dealing with a slew of injuries on the offensive side of the ball this week. With injuries to Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Leonard Fournette, the Bucs lost nearly 60% of their offensive production last weekend. Unfortunately, Fournette is expected to miss the remainder of the regular season with a hamstring injury. Godwin is also out for the rest of the year with a torn ACL. To offset the losses of Godwin and Evans, the Bucs will be bringing back Antonio Brown. Our second betting advice is to pick under 42.5. Quick reminder, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. 5 plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 500 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting advice that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks and advice. New York Giants vs Philadelphia Eagles. After getting blown out in their first matchup with Dallas this season, 44-20, the Giants were able to hang around mainly due to the Cowboys' inefficiency in the red zone. The Giants could take some solace in that they were able to end rookie LB Micah Parsons' streak of having a sack at 6 straight games. Still, the Giants' offense continued to flounder, and, adding to their woes, the team announced this week that starting QB Daniel Jones will be shut down the rest of the season due to his neck injury. The Eagles come into this game favored by only 10 points, but that number might not be set high enough in this spot. Hurts and the rest of the Eagles' offense has been rolling in recent weeks. They've scored 27 points or more in 4 of their last 5 games. The only time that Philadelphia scored fewer than that number came in a 13-7 loss versus this very Giants team. Hurts returned from a 1-game absence due to an ankle injury and showed very few effects from injury in running for 2 scores and throwing for another. Hurts was 20 of 26 for 296 yards passing with a TD. Hurts scored on a pair of 1-yard QB sneaks and established a new franchise record for QB rushing touchdowns in a season with 10. His touchdown toss was a 19-yard strike to Greg Ward. After a sluggish start that included 2 quick turnovers, the Eagles outgained Washington 435-136 the rest of the way and shut down an opponent missing a handful of starters because of COVID-19 protocol. In addition to Hurts' heroics, Miles Sanders exploited the holes in Washington's defense left by those absences and additional injuries, carrying the ball 18 times for a career-high 131 yards. Our first betting advice is to pick Philadelphia Eagles -10. For the season, Hurts has completed 61.3% of his passes for 2,731 yards with 14 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. The 23-year-old has also rushed for 733 yards and 10 touchdowns on the ground to lead the Eagles in both categories. In addition to a short week, Philadelphia will also be dealing with some added adversity versus the Giants. Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni tested positive for COVID-19 and has entered the NFL's health and safety protocols, according to ESPN. After another poor performance under center last week, the Giants turned to 2020 fifth-round pick Jake Fromm. The former Georgia quarterback completed 6 of 12 passes for 82 yards in the first regular season action of his NFL career. The performance may have earned Fromm an extended look under center as the Giants wind down the regular season. While head coach Joe Judge has refused to name a starter this week, it appears that Fromm is being strongly considered for the starting job. Our second betting advice is to pick under 40.5. Los Angeles Chargers vs Houston Texans. This week will put the Chargers to the test in terms of depth. Like a number of teams, the Chargers have started to stack up players on the COVID reserve list. RB Austin Eckler will be out this week, as will 2 key receivers in Mike Williams and Jalen Guyton. Eckler has had a Pro Bowl-type season, but the Chargers got quality production out of both Justin Jackson and Joshua Kelly in the past, particularly Jackson in recent weeks. The loss of Williams might be more detrimental. Williams was also nursing a heel injury, but he was placed on the COVID reserve list at the end of the week. With Guyton already missing the game, the Chargers will turn to rookie Josh Palmer to play a bigger role in a must-have game. Even though the Chargers will be going on the road, they will still be expected to come away with a win in this one. The Texans have struggled all season long, with 2 of their wins coming against the lowly Jaguars. The Chargers have been playing well of late though, and their offense is strong enough to simply outscore the Texans. Their offense, even with Eckler potentially out, is still plenty strong enough to put the pressure on a Houston offense that will struggle to move the ball. Add in all of the injuries for the Texans on both sides of the ball, and the lack of depth is bound to be consequential when things are all said and done. Additionally, according to Covers.com, the Texans are 1-4 at TS in their last 5 games on field turf and are 0-4-1 at TS in their last 5 games in Week 16. Our first betting advice is to pick Chargers -10. The Texans rank near the bottom of the NFL in almost every offensive category, and the injury issues only add more uncertainty. They rank last in total yardage per game, last in rushing yards per game, and second to last in passing yards per game and scoring offense. Davis Mills has taken the reins as the start but has expectedly struggled. He has nearly as many interceptions as touchdowns and is averaging less than 200 passing yards per game. Potentially without his top wide receiver threat in Brandon Cooks, illness will only serve as more of a barrier to success. In a game in which the Chargers will put up their fair share of points, it is difficult to imagine the Texans finding a way to stay close. Defensively, things have been slightly better than they have been on the offense. They come ranked right near the bottom of the league in terms of total yardage defense and scoring defense, but at least have shown some signs of life against the pass. The Chargers are a pass-heavy team, which should fit into likely the Texans' only strength. Expect Houston to struggle if the Chargers change their play-calling balance, especially with the injuries at hand. The Chargers have ridden their offense to most of their wins, and the ability to simply outscore their opponent should be viable on Sunday afternoon. They come in averaging the 4th most yards per game, getting things done mainly through the air, where they rank 5th in the league in passing offense. Justin Herbert hasn't wasted any time in year 2 looking like an elite professional quarterback. He's averaging over 300 passing yards per game, tossing 32 touchdowns. The 12 interceptions is a concern, but if he can take care of the ball better over the final few weeks of the season, the Chargers will look like a dangerous side. Without Eckler, expect Justin Jackson, 20.3 rushing yards per game, to take over in the backfield. In the end, the X factor remains Keenan Allen. If he can get on the same page as Herbert early, it'll be a long night for the Texans. Our second betting advice is to pick under 45.5.